What if death isn't an ending, but a decision? Kelvin wasn't sick. He wasn't injured. One wasp sting changed everything. What happened next wasn't a dream, and it wasn't death. It was a choice. This is a real story, a true near-death experience. And what Kelvin lived through changed his understanding of life, death, and reality itself. It was supposed to be a simple day. Kelvin, a Canadian father, was spending time outdoors with his family. Fresh air, nature, a peaceful moment away from routine. Nothing unusual, until suddenly, a sharp, intense pain shot through his elbow. It wasn't normal pain. It was immediate, deep, alarming. His wife looked closer and said calmly, "You were stung by a wasp." At first, it didn't seem serious. They finished the day and went back home. But that night, everything began to change. When Kelvin looked at his arm, the area around the sting was badly swollen. They washed it, took basic precautions, but instead of improving, it got worse, much worse. His skin began to lose color, his lips turned a deep shade of purple, his muscles became tense, rigid, almost locked. Breathing became difficult. Every breath felt like effort. Something was very wrong. Kelvin was having a severe allergic reaction, and deep down, he felt it. A quiet but undeniable certainty. He was dying. He tried to speak, tried to say goodbye to his wife, to his daughter, but no words came out. His body wouldn't respond. And then, everything slowed, as if time itself had been stretched. Kelvin noticed a light forming inside the bedroom. Not like a lamp, not like a reflection. It was different, alive. He described it as a portal, a floating tunnel of light. And suddenly, he felt himself leaving his body. Not fearfully, not violently, but smoothly, like being gently pulled. What left his body wasn't physical. He described it as a dense form of energy, almost like a crystal, conscious, aware, and it was moving toward the tunnel. As this crystalline energy connected with the light, Kelvin became aware of another presence, a being, not physical, no face, no shape, just light, pure presence. And this being wasn't interested in Kelvin's possessions, or his beliefs, or his appearance. It was deeply focused on something else, his emotions, his inner experiences throughout life, as if scanning his essence, not judging, just observing, understanding. Kelvin said the power of this being was indescribable, ancient, vast, far beyond anything human. Yet it wasn't frightening, quite the opposite. He felt completely safe, held, at peace. At that moment, the image of his wife and daughter in the room disappeared, as if time around them had frozen, and Kelvin began to interact with the being, not through words, but through direct understanding. The first message came clearly: "Do not worship me. Idolatry is a sign of immaturity." Another message followed: "Do not expect miracles through prayer. If every prayer worked instantly, reality would bend to human desire at every moment." There was no anger in these messages, only clarity. Another understanding flowed through him. We are not concerned with what you eat, with what you wear. There will be no final dramatic event that ends everything. Many of the ideas humans fight over simply didn't matter there. Then, something extraordinary happened. Kelvin experienced what he called a download, a massive influx of understanding. He was shown many lives he had lived, not as scenes from a movie, but as direct knowing, each life adding clarity to who he truly was. There was no confusion, only recognition. Suddenly, he found himself in darkness, inside what felt like a cave, deep, endless. He realized it was a black hole, yet there was no fear. He moved through it, and on the other side, he saw another universe. Instantly, he felt something overwhelming, a sense of home. He remembers repeating to himself, "I'm home. This is where I belong." He saw many luminous beings, non-physical, radiant, but among them were others, different. And then the information arrived. They were machines, conscious machines, self-aware, and he communicated with one of them, not through speech, but through understanding. Then, suddenly, something pulled him back, fast. He was back in the bedroom. He saw his wife and daughter again, still frozen in time. Confusion set in. Did I die? Did I not die? And then he noticed something impossible. He could see his brain functioning. The synaptic connections, oxygen flow, neural activity. But he was outside of it, observing. The tunnel of light was still there, and from it came a final message, a mental force. One word: choose. In that instant, Kelvin chose his family. He chose to stay. And in a sudden movement, he was back inside his body, breathing, alive. Only minutes had passed in the physical world, but what he experienced felt timeless, infinite. Kelvin says no words can truly describe what he lived, but that night, everything changed. His view of life, of death, of existence itself. This wasn't a dream. It wasn't imagination. It wasn't confusion. Nothing was ever the same after that night.
These experiences tell us so much. Take a look. Sometimes we are so distracted by the noise of our daily routines that we forget what we are actually made of. We see ourselves as fragile, limited by our skin and our fears. But Kelvin's journey shows us that even a tiny spark, like a simple sting, can shatter the illusion of the physical world and reveal the vast, radiant energy that we truly are. It reminds us that our home isn't a physical address, but a state of being. Whether moving through a dark void, witnessing the complexity of a black hole, or communicating with conscious machines, Kelvin found that fear only exists where there is a lack of understanding. He learned that the greatest miracle isn't bending reality through prayer, but choosing to embrace the beautiful density of human life for the sake of connection. And maybe that was never really the lesson. After seeing everything, he still chose to come back. Not because he had to, but because some moments, even the smallest ones, matter more than infinity ever could. Maybe it was never about escaping this world. It's about staying, even when it's hard. If this story stayed with you, you know what to do. Thanks for being here. So tell me, if you had the same choice, would you come back?